Hey folks, Ben Maloney back again. Well, this video was inspired by a YouTuber named PKRussl, and more specifically, his video, Discord will probably ban me for making this video. In it, he discusses YouTuber Quackity getting banned from Discord after invading a furry Discord server, and you know, I don't exactly know the details about what happened, but basically Quackity got banned from Discord and a lot of his fans are pretty upset about it, including him. But in PKRussl's video, he discusses how Discord allows cub arts, yet bans Lolly and Shota. And he brought up a lot of interesting points in the video that I want to either talk about or respond to. Now, PKRussl isn't a bad YouTuber by any means. This is probably the first video of his that I've seen. I don't know him personally, but you know, I don't think he's a bad dude or anything. I just think he brought up some points in his video that I would like to discuss. Well, I might as well get the obvious one out of the way. In the video, he mentions how cub art and Lolly and Shota they basically normalize child abuse, child sexual relationships, and just pedophilia in general. Well, you all know my opinions on that. I've discussed this several times before, but to reiterate, I might as well get out of the way. I don't agree. That kind of art normalizes pedophilia no more than horror, action movies, and video games normalize violence. Law & Order SVU normalizes rape, and Fox News normalizes low IQ. Well, that last one might be true, but you get the idea. I don't believe any kind of art form, no matter how icky it might be, can any way inspire violent or disgusting acts. And by all means, you're free to not like and find disgusting as much as you want. But I believe to ban that kind of art is not the right thing to do, because when it's fiction, either all of it's okay or none of it is. Alright, so with that out of the way, that's probably going to get a mass flag of dislikes on this video. Let's get into the real meat of this discussion. Does social media have too much power? In his video, PKRussl says that social media has pretty much become a need like water and the air we breathe and food, and that social media companies are starting to become the wild, wild west and ban anybody they don't like simply just 'cause. Okay, I think that's a slight exaggeration. While it's true, a lot of people, like myself, use social media for a lot of things. Like, as an artist, it's pretty much how I get my name out there and everything. I don't think all these companies are purposely banning people just 'cause. I mean, if you look at the cases of people who have been banned from social media in recent years, I'd be lying if I said that they didn't have good reasons. The whole Quackity situation, based on what I hear, he kind of didn't deserve it. But seeing as how Discord is pretty much run by furries, I can't say I'm surprised. I don't think it's fair. It shouldn't have happened to him, but at the same time, I don't think that should be that surprising that some furries didn't take kindly to being made fun of, I guess. But you know, I'm confident they'll work something out and he'll get his account back. That being said, no, social media is not a need like food, water, and all that stuff. It's a privilege, not a right. Now, I myself am a free speech warrior. I believe in the First Amendment. It's probably the main amendment I agree on, and yeah, it's pretty much the basis on how I do both my YouTube work and my artwork. So it's easy to say that I live by it. That being said, when you use a social media platform and those terms of services that you skip through and don't bother to read, you basically have to abide by the rules. And that's not just on social media, that's pretty much real life in general. It's like, think of social media as your boss. Now, you can do whatever you want and say whatever you want in your own home, but when you're at work, if you do something your boss doesn't like, you're going to get punished for it. That's just how it always been. And you can argue free speech all you want, but when you're hired by a company to do work for them and represent them, there's a certain responsibility you have to take. It's like, sure, you can walk around your house naked all you want, but if you come to work naked, yeah, you can't do that. Social media is the same way. Yes, in principle, there should be things that you should be allowed to do that you have a right to do. But at the same time, if a certain website doesn't want certain content being hosted on their website, then they're well within their right to say, no, we don't agree with that, and punish you for it. And I tend to find that when people get supposedly banned from social media for free speech, it's because they were harassing or bullying somebody else. And yeah, it says clear right in the terms of service that you're not allowed to do that, because that can actually cause harm to an individual. You can say whatever you want on your Twitter if it's not directed at anybody, but the second you try to stir a pot and get a feud going, then yeah. And I know it happens all the time, but high profile people have been getting banned from social media because they're high profile. Everybody can see them. But it's hard to say that the same thing would happen to lesser people like myself, but I'm not going to be going around bullying people and harassing them just cuz. I don't do that. And while I'm on the topic, I might as well get this thing out of the way. People like to think that Alex Jones being banned is a conspiracy, like, oh, all these tech giants, they banned Alex Jones for telling the truth. It's like, well, if you actually knew what was going on in real life, Alex Jones was in the middle of a lawsuit from the parents of the Sandy Hook kids suing him over defamation of character. And my theory is YouTube, Apple, and not Twitter, whatever, was it Facebook? It was Facebook. I think it wasn't those tech giants getting together and saying, oh, let's just get rid of him because he's telling the truth, because he's been on those platforms for years before then, and they didn't get rid of him then. It's like it wasn't until he had legal issues that they said, all right, let's get rid of him. You want to know why? Because those companies didn't want to get accused in court of being potential accomplices to his delusional ramblings that led to these parents getting harassed. That's all. It was a PR move on their part, and I can't say I disagree with that. If I hired somebody and they one day went on a rant that were harassing other people and spreading hate speech and all that, I wouldn't want them representing me. It'd be within my power to get rid of them. It's not me being against free speech, it's me as a business person not wanting my brand to be hurt just because one bad egg is in the bunch. But to say social media is a right and a need now and then there's a mass conspiracy that's trying to take our free speech away, if that was the case, then people like me and other artists I follow would be the first to go. I mean, honestly, do you see the crap we draw? We're the outcasts of society. We're degenerate as hell. I think any business would be the first to get rid of us. But we're still here. We're still doing what we do. Because, hey, free speech, man. Freedom of expression. And we're not getting punished for it. So I'm buying into this whole hysteria about, oh no, my free speech. Because it's ridiculous. And people tend to forget that if you get banned from one social media platform, there's always alternatives out there. I mean, if Twitter one day decided not to host not safe for work material anymore like Tumblr did, I really hope they don't, I would just move on to the next thing. There's always Newgrounds, there's always Mastodon, there's always Pixiv, there's always Pixel. There's no shortage of social media sites to host my artwork. Yes, it's true. Those sites aren't as mainstream as Tumblr and Twitter, but at the same time, they have the potential to grow just like every other website. There was a time when Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube and Tumblr were just small websites that only had a niche market of people, but before long they became mainstream and everybody had an account. Everybody had accounts on those websites. Social media sites are not going anywhere. I mean, come on, people. You all know how the internet works. How long have you been on it? Now, am I saying that sites like Twitter, Discord, and YouTube are perfect? No. Clearly, companies as big as them, they're going to have some issues. And it's just one of those things where the bigger you get, the harder it is to maintain things. And do some YouTubers, Twitters, and just people in general, do they get unfairly punished? Yes, that's very true. But at the same time, we've kind of grown addicted to them at this point. That's why I think some people feel like they're in need, because now at this point, with how digitalized our society has been, we can't imagine our lives without them. But I think as long as we still have drinkable water and food available, and sunlight and electricity, I think we're going to do alright as a species. And if something bad ever happens where social media blows up and bans everybody for reasons, then something new will come from the ashes and something better will evolve. And we'll never again wonder whatever happened to social media. It'll just be a distant memory, just like MySpace. But another point I wanted to make is, yes, there have been times where I have been punished on social media websites. There was a time last year when my DeviantArt got suspended for a month, but I'll be the first one to admit it was my bad. I posted some art that was breaking their rules. They were kind of okay. Some of my friends agree that the art that got me suspended was pretty tame, and honestly, people have gotten away with worse stuff. But I'm not gonna try to put the blame on anybody else. It was my fault. I posted art that I shouldn't have on DeviantArt. Thought I could get away with it, but people reported my art and I got suspended for it. So that's on me. That was me breaking the rules. I acknowledge that. But I barely use DeviantArt anyway, because honestly, half of my drawings aren't even safe to post on there at all, so no skin off my back, as long as I got alternatives. But going back to this whole Discord thing, yeah, I mean, if the fact that they're okay with cub art and not Lolly and Shota, it wouldn't bother me so much if there was some consistency. Either ban all of it, or better case, don't ban any of it at all. So I can see why a lot of people would see that's not fair, and I agree with them that isn't fair. I don't mind websites and apps having policies about what they personally don't like, but be consistent with it. And you know, these rules are only there in case somebody reports you. If you get a group of like-minded people into one Discord server and you share that kind of artwork amongst yourselves, as long as nobody reports you, then you're in the clear. What's Discord gonna do? There's probably millions of Discord servers out there and billions more private conversations going on. There's no humanly way possible that Discord can possibly monitor all that stuff. They just can't. So if you're just sharing artwork amongst your friends, don't you worry about getting your account banned. You post to your heart's content. So I think I addressed all the points I wanted to address. I don't think social media is getting out of hand, and I don't think social media should be regulated, because there's a word for that. It's called communism. Things I do think should be regulated are stuff we actually do need and do rely on, such as water, electricity, healthcare, and that kind of stuff. That makes sense. But for a privilege like social media, people need to start realizing that you have rules. Think of social media as a public park. You can shout whatever you want to whoever's willing to listen in a public park, but the second you start walking up to people and getting in their face, that's when the cops start getting called for harassment, and that's when you get yourself banned from a public park. It's like people never seem to complain when you get banned from public places, because that is possible. You can do that when you abuse the privileges you are given. So at the end of the day, social media is definitely a helpful tool for us to branch out, meet new people, and share ourselves, express ourselves, and all that kind of stuff without fear of getting punished for it. However, know that these companies have their limits too, and they're well within your right to ban you for whatever they see fit. Now granted, if you got banned for clearly you weren't breaking any rules, then I understand that. I wouldn't take kindly to that either. But if it's well within reason and they have good reasons for it, then I don't see the problem with that. I'm not saying they should ban people left and right. I'm just saying as long as they're sticking to their guns and their morals, then that's all that matters in my eye. So what do you guys think? You think social media is starting to have too much power? You guys worry about ever getting any of your accounts banned? Or are you just like me and don't really overthink that kind of stuff? Let me know in those comments below. And as always, stay loony, my toonies. Strength. Ain't nobody